So in this video, we're going to dive into using Instagram to maximize your efforts and really get as many customers and clients from the platform as possible. So we're going to be diving into really some of the tools to be using in 2023. And this is going to be one where I'm also going to be sharing my personal distribution and content creation strategy on Instagram, the things that I'm doing like right now in order to build my own coaching business. So let's get into it. Now, back in June 2021, Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, posted a video, and in that video, he talked about how Instagram was no longer a square picture sharing platform. And in that video, he also mentioned that they'd seen a big growth in video and they wanted to lean into video specifically.
Second is video. Video is driving an immense amount of growth online for all the major platforms right now, and it's one that I think we need to lean into more.
And the reason why they were making this announcement is because we were really in the midst of the lockdowns, and during that period between 2020 and the end of 2021 going into 2022, TikTok was blowing up and videos on TikTok were really popular and a lot of people were using the platform, and Instagram was looking from afar, and what Instagram likes to do is go, okay, this thing is working over here, why don't we do something similar, or why don't we optimize or really lean into that thing too and ride the wave. And that's exactly what they did from 2021 until today, where the vertical video or Reels has been the focal point of their strategy and is the number one thing that we're going to be discussing inside of this video, because it really is the number one opportunity. And if you stick with me until later on in the video, I'm going to share with you my personal distribution strategy and also what I'm doing with my reel making process to maximize my views, engagement, saves, followers, all the things that typically are really going to help any business owner with growing their business too. So I just want to caveat by saying that images still work on the platform and I'm sharing image content. Okay, there's two places that I'm sharing images. The first place is in the stories feature, because images and stories, in my opinion, still work. The most views I get is when I share an image in my stories and I put text over it, and then people go read it or click back and watch it again, and that increases views. And so pictures in the stories still work really, really well. Another place where pictures work well, in my opinion, is if you couple them up together and create a series of pictures in a chain called a carousel. Okay, this is where you'll see image after image after image in a single post. And the reason why I see this still working is because it holds attention. And that's what every platform is looking for. It's looking to hold attention, right? And so imagine if there's a series of images in a row and you're having to scroll through those images to see the next one, then that's going to hold your attention. And so Instagram likes people doing that, and it does actually favor that type of content. And another thing I've noticed is if you share a carousel or a series of images, it will share that to the feed of other people, so they'll be able to find it and discover it. But when they log in the next day, it will often choose another image inside of that carousel or that sequence of images to show them, and it appears to them like a different post, when actually it's the same post. They've just shared a different one of your images in that chain. And that could then be the stimulus to come and read the entire post. And so you get this like multi-level exposure by using the carousel or series of images back to back to back. And so in my opinion, that still works and you can definitely do that. However, 90% of my content is centered around Reels. So if I'm able to turn it into a reel, I'm turning it into a reel. And the reason for that is because what I found with Reels is it's really the only piece of content that gets the most reach outside of your current network. And if you're looking to optimize for new followers or new leads or just a new audience in general to get exposure on what you're doing, then Reels is by far the number one way to do that. And so on a day-to-day basis, and when I'm planning at the start of the week for my content, it is very much centered around Reels, and I'd say 90% of my content on Instagram is specifically Reel content. Now I create 3 types of Reels, and the first one is traffic Reels, the second one is nurture Reels, and the third one is conversion Reels. I want to break these down step by step so you understand the principle. The traffic Reels are designed to have mass appeal and generate the most amount of traffic, engagement, likes, exposure, etc. Right? So it's quite broad content. The next one is the nurture Reels, and the nurture Reels is a little bit more industry specific, and this is designed to build authority, but it still has quite big appeal, and so it's still going to be seen by a lot of people and get quite a lot of exposure. But then we have the third one, and this is the conversion content, and this type of reel is very specific to the audience and very specific to my niche or niche, depending on where you are. And this is designed to be a conversion piece of content. And conversion could mean a follower, so getting a follower, or conversion could be a lead, someone who interacts, who's an ideal client, or someone that reaches out off the back of it for more information about what I do. And so that niche or audience specific content gets the least amount of interaction, engagement, views, etc., because it's only going to appeal to a specific group of people, but it's the most powerful in creating conversions. And so I've got those 3 types of content in my reels to make sure that I'm getting maximum exposure in each one of those categories, because combine those 3 things together and then you've got a good mix of reels that serve different purposes. Now here's the vertical video opportunity, because these reels that you can create on Instagram, they're the same dimensions as TikTok, as YouTube Shorts, as Facebook Reels. And so you could create one piece of content for an Instagram reel, and you could then go and redistribute it on other platforms and increase your views or engagement or even leads by 200, 300, 400%. For example, yesterday I posted a reel on Instagram and I think it got less than 1,000 views. Okay, didn't do particularly well, but I posted the same reel on YouTube Shorts, on my Facebook as well. And when I went to my YouTube, I think it was this morning, there was about 3,000 views and I'd got another 10 subscribers off the back of it. So even though it didn't perform particularly well over here on Instagram, by just taking that same piece of content and sharing it on YouTube Shorts, then it did serve a purpose for my business and it did help my business grow. And so by having this multiple distribution strategy, you're just getting more for the price of one essentially. And because all of these platforms now are optimized for this vertical video content, you could be creating for Instagram, but then sharing it in multiple other places. And that's then going to bring you more visibility and more exposure on your business, which I think everyone would agree is a good thing. Now, in terms of my process for creation, is I'm creating my reel content in CapCut, and I'm doing it on the desktop version. So I don't create my reels in app. I create them in CapCut, I edit them up there. And then what I do is I take that video and I distribute it everywhere. And once I distribute it, I don't set and forget and leave it. I come back to it and I monitor the progress and the performance. And what I'm looking for is how well is it performing against other comparable reels that I've created. So if it's a reel designed for traffic and to get maximum exposure, I'm looking for views, likes, maybe follows off the back of it to tell me if it's good in comparison to other ones I've done. And then I can get a reference point as to whether I want to recreate that type of content or whether it's a loser and I don't want to create that type of content again. And so I've got a tracking process in place, a spreadsheet, a folder, where I'm just keeping an eye on what is performing well, what is not performing well, and then I'm optimizing for the things that are performing well, right? So do less of what's not working, more of what is working, and life and business gets easier, right? Now, it all depends on the type of reel, but I'm typically looking at views, I'm looking at engagement, comments, likes, looking at saves, I'm looking at follows, and I'm always comparing it against other comparable reels and just stacking up a pile of what I call winners, and then also having a pile of losers. So I've just got a quick reference point when I'm going to create content in the future, because Content is a very specific thing that works in different ways for different people, and the same piece of content created by two different people can perform very differently. So you want to be monitoring what works well for you and then recreating what you see is working well for you and your style of creating content. So let's talk about what's going to get your reels more views, more engagement, more saves, more follows, more everything, right? And these are some things that I've seen have a massive impact on my reels, and I want to give you a framework here where you can follow. And if you're taking notes right now, this would be a good time to jot these things down, because I'm very confident this can at least double the performance of any of your reels right now if you just follow these things that I'm going to share with you right now. You may want to come back to this afterwards or even save this video so that when you come and create a reel again, then you've got a bit of a reference point as to what I've seen works really well so that you can test it on your own reels and on your own business. Now, I want to give you a couple of examples of hooks, and a hook is, in my opinion, the most important thing when it comes to creating a short form piece of content or a reel. And the reason for that is you've got very, very short attention spans that you're dealing with, and you've got about 1 to 3 seconds to hook someone in, and that's why it's called a hook. And so we have to be really strategic with what we're saying in those first 1 to 3 seconds, otherwise we've lost a viewer, they've gone on to the next video, and as a byproduct, that video is going to flop, because if enough people skip it, it just tells Instagram that it's not a good video and it's not going to share it to more people. Okay, so I'm going to give you examples of 2 hooks, and I'm going to show you the difference, and you're going to be able to tell which one is likely gonna hook people more. So this is the first one. Hey guys, it's Alex here. Wanted to come on here and share some information about how you can actually eat some of the things that you really enjoy eating whilst also losing weight. Now this is hook number 2, and listen carefully because this is gonna go fast. Imagine if you could lose weight and eat cake at the same time. Now notice the difference, big difference, right? The first one, although it's talking about a similar thing, I take too long in order to get into the punchline, and by that point, it's too late. I've lost the audience. And so with the second one, it sounds very abrupt and direct, but I've only got 1 to 3 seconds, so I want to make those 1 to 3 seconds count. And so in about 2 seconds, I'm able to penetrate whoever's listening, and they're going to be able to make a decision whether they want to continue or not. And if it's juicy enough or interesting enough or compelling enough, then we've hooked them, and then they're going to continue watching the video. Make sense? But there's more. Once you've got your hooks down, then it's about doing some other strategic stuff, which is proven to help with the overall watch time of your videos. And the more watch time you get and the more average watch time you have, the more popular that video is ranked. And as a byproduct of that, it gets pushed to more accounts on Instagram. And that's what drives your views, engagements, and that's what allows things to actually go viral. And so once you've nailed down the hook, which is the most important thing, I would next be looking to incorporate all these things which I do that have worked for me. And this is not a list that is a be all and end all and the only way to do it. I'm just speaking from experience and what I've seen over multiple viral posts, my own popular posts, and other posts that are performing extremely well on multiple platforms, not just Instagram. They have these characteristics. And so like I said, this is probably something you want to save, come back to, make notes on, because this is really going to help you with your reel making process going forward. Now, remember, we're dealing with very short attention spans. And if that's the case, then we want to make sure that when we're speaking a little bit faster than normal and just getting to the point very, very quickly. Okay, so it's really important to be direct and to not waffle essentially, and just get straight into the juice, because we have a very short window of time and also like a very short length of video that we're working with. And so we want to try and pack as much as we can into a short space of time. But equally, we may not want to use a full 60 seconds. If we can say the same thing in 20 or 30 seconds, that means it's better because you can get more people watching it to the end, and the more people that watch it to the end, the better that video is going to perform. So speed up what you're saying and deliver it fast. The next thing is, it's scientifically proven that if you're speaking into a mic or you're holding something that you're speaking into, with the audio quality being better, it's going to be something that people want to listen to more, right? Because it's like a tasty snack. If it tastes good, people want to snack more on it. The same with audio. If the audio is good, people are going to want to consume more of it. But when you hold a mic or something to your mouth, essentially, that you can speak into, people pay more attention because they assume it's more important, right? Have you ever seen a news presenter holding a mic? We've been conditioned by the news that when someone's holding a mic, it's important news that we should be paying attention to. And so that psychological principle gets people to listen more. Another thing that really helps is having some interesting backgrounds and maybe even some weird objects or some things for people to look at in the video that's not just you. For example, if you just had a white background behind you, it's not very interesting. But if you look at my background right now, I've got a bookshelf, I've got a lamp, I've got this plant, I've got the light, I've got some sound diffusers over here. There's lots of things that you could be looking at whilst you're also looking at me. Does that make sense? And so it's going to be more interesting for the viewer if there's things that you can see in the background. And if you go and look at any of my content previously, not on YouTube, but other channels, you'll notice it was pretty bland. There was nothing really interesting in it. And as a byproduct, that was hurting my watch time and my engagement. And so I've strategically added in more things in the background to hold people's attention, make it more interesting, and really just to increase those watch times to increase the performance. Now, another thing you can actually do as well is you could be doing something in the video whilst you're speaking. So let's just say you're demonstrating some exercises in the gym. That's perfect, right? Because you could be talking and doing at the same time. And so people could be watching the movement whilst you're talking over what you're doing. And that's gonna be really interesting. But even just talking in the gym with a wide frame where they can see you head to toe and the things in the background would be super interesting as well, because there's lots of things for them to look at. Make sense? Equally, if, let's just say you're shooting a video straight to the camera like this, you're a female coach, you've got a female audience, you could shoot some valuable content whilst you're getting ready, maybe doing your hair, curling your hair, or maybe doing your makeup. And if you're okay with doing this and you're confident enough to do this, this is really going to help grow your business in a couple of ways. Number one, people are going to pay more attention. They're going to watch your videos longer. But number two, it's actually going to allow you to connect better with your audience, because they're going to see you in what could be considered a vulnerable state, right? You getting ready without your makeup on, without your hair done. So they're going to be really buying into you as a byproduct of you creating content whilst you're getting ready. And it's almost recreating that get ready with me vibe. So often, where possible, women do enjoy getting ready together. And so you're recreating that through the content you're teaching, but you're getting ready with them. And so it's just got all these different ingredients that make it interesting and engaging, and a really good connection piece to connect with the audience. So if you're a female coach, then maybe you want to steal that. So essentially, if we were to wrap things up, the more things that are happening in the video, whether it's weird things in the background or an interesting background, or you're speeding up the way you speak, or you're cutting out the ums and the ahs and you're editing it up really quickly, or you're doing something in the video like training or makeup, or you've got captions or you've got images popping into the video, all those things are going to distract, engage, hold attention, which is good for your reels and all things that I would be building in. Now, yes, it takes a little bit more work, but my philosophy is quantity and quantity, trying to get a high volume of content out there, but also a high quality volume of content out there, where we're actually taking time to make it count and worthwhile, and all those things will help you do that. So if you want to increase your views, your engagement, your follows, your saves, all those things will come down to the things that we just discussed in this video. Now, if you found this valuable, it's free, give it a thumbs up, and it's also free to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content just like this. And if you've got anything that I missed that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.